Hello my friend, welcome to the channel. Today's video is a codecast on CliBuilder. The CliBuilder is a library to help you building your command line application. In this codecast, I'm going to clean up the API of the library. There are two things that bothers me right now. One is about the command spec. When you're using the library, you will define a bunch of command spec and pass it into the command arguments over here. The issue with that is the name, the command spec. I created using this name, as you can see in this interface. It's because that internally, I define it as a spec instead of an actual command, because the actual command is actually a class. And when you are defining your command, you don't really need to instantiate a class or anything. I want to keep it simple. So I call it command spec, and then as you can see over here, you would just need to define a simple object with a name and then maybe with other options or arguments, and then at the end just define a run function, and the code will be executed when that command is called. The problem with that is this differentiation between the command spec and the command is actually something internal. When you're using this library, you don't really need to know the difference between the two. And so the fact that I am exposing the interface called command spec, and then when you're passing in the arguments, the property is called commands, is a little bit confusing. The other problem I have is about the interface that's being exposed. When you use the CliBuilder, you will import it, CliBuilder, and then you will see that it exposes a bunch of class and interfaces. I don't like some of the interface that get exposed. For example, the command and the command base, as I mentioned, these are internal interface that is not necessary to be known by the consumer. And also about the interface, like say this argument, Boolean options, or the display. This by itself, it sounds like an okay name. However, in the JavaScript environment, when you're using it, this could be a little bit not convenient to use, because the word, the name is a little bit too generic. So it's better to name it as, for example, CLI arguments, so the likelihood of having conflicting names in the consuming application would be minimized. So let's get started. To begin, let's run the test in watch mode, so that while I am working, the test runner will keep on running for every change that I have made. So I will able to catch all the errors I have and then make sure that they will pass again after every refactoring. So the first things we are going to handle is this command spec. And at the end, I want to rename it to command so that it's concise with the API. But before that, since the internal command is called command, I have to rename it. So to do that, let's go ahead and rename it to something else. And what I'm going to do is call it command instance. Okay. So any name would be fine. I just call it command instance for now, so that I could create ways to create space for the command spec renaming to command. So I'm going to save all and make sure that it is fine, and you can see that some of the code is not correct, so I'm going to fix it. So this is command instance. Oh, I see, because I am using the namespace command. Let me go over here. The namespace command, and to share this internal stuff. This will be needed because the command spec will is extending this shared, so I do need to extend it, and I do need to share it out in the final public API. The good things about this is I am tucking it in. This is a technique that I use, that I tucked the interface inside a namespace called command, so that when you use it, you will only see the command, and you can drill down to get the internal interface, which you normally don't have to. But to fix this issue, for now, I have to also import the command over here to make sure that it will get the right thing. And in this case, I actually don't need the command instance. So let's see. All right, it seems that it's working. All the tests, the compilation is fine, and you can see the test passed. Right, it's simple enough. So I have renamed that to command instance, and now I can rename this to command, and then again save all. You can see a bunch of stuff because I didn't save the other files. So when I save all, there's one more issue, the CLITS. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, no, actually it was kind of stuck in the middle. So it is working. Just in case, let me run it again, or actually let it stop and run it, because that will trigger the transpiler again. And we are fine. Okay, so we have extract this, and then the next things I'm going to do is some of this interface are not needed outside. Say for example this one. When you're using the CLI builder, this command base is used by the command instance is something that internal. However, when I exporting the whole libraries, I'm exporting the whole file, this command file, so all the interface inside are exported. So what I am going to do is to create a interface file, interfaces. That's the typical convention that I use, and then pull the things that will be public to that file. So for example, the command, this, as I mentioned, I need it, so let's pull it out to the interface, and then it requires a bunch of stuff. So this is a little bit boring, but we will take a look at it next. But before that, let's pull all this over, because these are needed, strings and all this, and also the command, right, as we just rename it. So we put it out here, and then there's only one error over here, is the command instance. So let's think about this a little bit. This is a shared interface that will be used by both the command and the command instance, and the command has a run function which will expose and command instance. Let's take a look over here, which will expose a command instance as this argument. Right, as you can see it here, this is run this. So what this means is inside the run function, you will get this typed as a command instance plus the context. So would that be needed? Do you need, as a consumer, do you need to know the current working directory or the commands that you have internally? You might, right? You might need that, which means that contrary to my original belief, I do also need to expose this class, this interface to the end user. And however, because of that, however, at the same time, I still don't want user to know about this one. They don't need to use it normally. It is just for the type over here. So it should be hidden from the user. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to reword this because it seems like everything that in there need to be exported. It's just that I probably need to change the organization a little bit so that this base and the command, hold on a second, why this is called command again? Oh, I reword it all the way. Yeah. Okay. So now this is better. Let's Control C one more time. Okay, so we get back here. So just in case, because I've made some change, and now I want to reword it. I want to make sure that things are fine again. So things are fine. So we're back to square one. Well, not exactly square one because we do have the command rename, which is what we want. So we will do this instead. As I mentioned, this is a technique I use to tuck the unwanted interface inside the command, so that this is what I am going to do. So this become a base, and then this become a command base, and then also extracting this, putting it inside here, and I can say that become instance, and then because it's inside, I don't need this anymore, and that should be fine. Okay, also here, so become instance, that should be fine. Okay, and then there's a bunch of error. Let's fix that. Right, so it is about this command model. So the command model, because it's using this command base, I need to change that. So let's save it. And then there are a few more errors. Command instance, same thing, command dot instance, so that it will tuck in. The other one is the util, same thing. So command dot util, that will fix that issue. And then one more file to get displayed. Okay, so the compilation is fine, and the test is still fine. Oh, nope. One more issue. Base is used before decoration. Yes, that's what I was expecting. Because when I copy it over, I was expecting that, and somehow they didn't complain, so I just leave it as is and see how it goes. So I put this over here. No, wrong place, wrong place, wrong place. Put it back. It should be here. Okay, and probably also the share too. Well, let's copy the instance down. So put this below, let's put it to the bottom. Okay, save that. Okay, seems it's good. Okay, now we still get the whole application path. Oh, not necessarily. What does it mean? Oh, because it's already in the command namespace. So save that. That should be fine. Right, that will work, I think. So the next things we're going to work on is these things. The Boolean options, string options. The major thing that I might concern is this, the argument. So I'm going to first rename that to CLI argument, and then save all. There are some issue that it's not able to detect. That's fine. So let's fix that. Let's see. Let's run it again because I think I saw a error. Oh, actually it's okay. So this is fine. So I have tucked all this in the options. I don't worry about it too much because it normally wouldn't be used. And in fact, actually, let me reword this because the argument actually doesn't need to be exposed, just like the options. Because when you're using the CLI builder, you don't really have to type the arguments or things like that. You can just rely on the editor to code complete for you. So let me show you what it means. Is when you're using it on the editor, it already shows you like this, and then it says a CLI argument is an array. So I would say it is an array, and then I create an object, and then it show all this for me. So you don't really have to think, like say as a CLI arguments, things like that, because you just don't need it. Nowadays, the editor, especially Visual Studio Code, is pretty good at it. So because of that, let me undo all this. Yeah, undo all this. So I don't actually need to do that renaming, and I actually want to, yeah, it doesn't allow me to do that because it's the editor is still not that smart. So it has some problem with dealing with the name spacing. But that's okay. I just reword it, and now let me also pull this inside to here. Right. So I pull this inside. Does it break anything? It breaks, I believe it breaks a little bit. Let's see. This argument, I don't need it anymore. This is internal code. So that's fine. Hold on a second. When you want to extend this model, you might need this information. But I would say extending is rare. So I would just tuck in as is because it is not that is not exposed. It's just tucked in the command namespace. If the consumer needs to use those, they are actually still available. It's just make the API looks a little bit cleaner. So I'm okay with that. So let's see what else I can eliminate from the top level. I think this actually should be good to be included inside also. So let's do that. If not, we just revert it back. So let's see, do we get into any issue, parse argument, or this is internal. You never need to use it, so I'm completely fine to access it in this way. So this guy, this. Okay, it's good. So is there anything I need to do? If that's fine. This is an internal instance. So let's take a look at the usage, say from the test perspective. And still saying now it's just a simple command. I don't need anything else. Like say over here, I create a CLI. I don't need any of that information, and then say this is a command, which in the consumer side is rightfully so. You don't care about the differentiation between a command and command spec. So I think we are good. So let's publish it. Let's create a branch. I normally should create a branch to start with, but I haven't checked in anything, so that's okay. Clean API, for example, clean API, and let's commit it. So it is a breaking change, unfortunately. Saying change command spec to command reduce move some interface into command namespace. All right, I think just take a look at what we have. Mainly command instance. I think we're good. So let's just do this. Okay. So at the CLI builder, I have it here and create a PR, and it will go through the CI, the continuous integration. All right, the CI comes back and everything seems fine. The code coverage is still good and all that. That's, of course, we haven't really changed any code. All we have changed is just the interface, renaming all those interface. But it's good. We make it looks nicer, cleaner, and so we're going ahead to merge it in. So it is merged. So let's go back here and we check out the master. Do a git pull, get all the changes. So now we can increase the version. So since it is a breaking change, normally you would do a major change, but of course, since it is still in a pre-release phase, so I will be changing a minor, which have the same effect when the library is in 0.x versioning scheme. So my npm script will run a bunch of stuff to build the code, run the test when I'm doing versioning. Just make sure that everything is fine, and things are fine. And it's version 19, and then I could just go ahead and publish it, and it will do the same thing, just for safety purpose. And I don't expect it will fail. All right, getting there. There you go. So now it is published. So we are good. When I'm off the camera, I also make update the README so that if it reflected the changes. So now it looked much nicer. Everything is just a command. You don't care about the difference, and you just use it like that. So that's it for this codecast, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I will be doing more this kind of codecast in the future whenever I get my chance to work on some of my open source project or any other projects that on the open source community. And stay tuned to that, and hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.